When I started playing AFK Journey, the first thing I was looking for was the hero tier list. A lot of YouTubers and guys refer to this tier list on the Priden site, one of the best places to find AFK Journey information. Although this tier list might be pretty useful at the beginning, as I dive deeper in the game, I found it ambiguous or even misleading sometimes. For example, Mirali here is marked as S+ in all 4 Dream Realm bosses, but she is actually terrible before she gets to Mythic Plus. She deals little damage and dies easily. Cecilia will be a much better choice. But everything changes after Mirali gets to Mythic Plus, where she really is an S+ hero in all 4 bosses, but you cannot know that from this tier list. Another example is the Smoky versus Viperian. You can notice that both of them is marked as S tier in mid and late story, and both of them are A tier in PvP. But actually, Viperian is not even close to Smoky in story fights. Smoky is the best support, and Viperian is a mediocre at best damage dealer. On the other hand, Viperian is a great damage dealer, probably one of the best damage dealers in Arena, while Smoky is one of the worst support in Arena. This tier list could be misleading sometimes. So, if you really want to optimize your game, I strongly suggest that you stop using this tier list and watch the rest of this video carefully. Before going through the tier list, we need to go through the Ascension system quickly. If you're familiar with it, feel free to jump directly to the tier list. This page shows the Ascension stages. Hero will get a stats boost every time they ascend. They will get new abilities at Legendary Plus and Supreme Plus, and will unlock exclusive equipment at Mythic Plus. Exclusive equipment is super important to most heroes, so a lot of heroes are only usable after getting to Mythic Plus, such as Miralin and Colin. After unlocking exclusive equipment, you can start upgrading it. Each upgrade will give the hero some base stats and some special stats before level 8. Upgrading exclusive equipment to level 5, 10, and 15 will unlock new abilities or enhance current abilities. This page shows the resources needed for the upgrade. The blue licenses are relatively easy to get, so feel free to upgrade any hero you like to level 5. On the other hand, the yellow licenses are very rare, so it is necessary to plan the spendings. Some of the most important abilities are unlocked at level 10, so it is important to prioritize them. We will go through them later. Alright, with some basic knowledge in Ascension, let's dive into the tier lists. For free-to-play players and low spenders, there are 3 important battle gameplays in the game: Dream Realm, AFK stages, and Arena. Dream Realm has the highest priority all along. AFK stages are important in Arena in early games, but Arena rises importance in late game when you get to champion rank.
Have you ever wondered why
For whales,
some things can float in
battle
the air?
drills are also
My
very
32nd
important, but I'm not an
thesis,
expert at battle
the
drills,
magical
so I'll
composition of
skip that part for
levitation
now.
will tell you-
Mystery is
Now,
the most
let's take a look
beautiful
at the
thing a
tier
girl
list
could
for
wear.
each gameplay.
It's more charming.
Now, let's look at the tier list for Dream Realm first. So the first tier we have Absolute God for every boss, and on this tier we have Mirali and Rainier. Mirali is the best damage dealer in every boss fights, and Rainier is the best support. Both of them are usable only after Mythic Plus. And for Mirali, you definitely want to max her out whenever possible. The second tier we have best choice for some bosses, and they are OD and Colin. Both of them are super good damage dealers, but they are just slightly not as good as Mirali. OD is usable before Mythic Plus, but he improves a lot as you get him to Mythic Plus or Supreme Plus. Calling is only usable after Mythic Plus. The next tier we have essential supports for most bosses. And here we have Smokey, Kruger, and Soren. All three of them are super useful in most boss fights. All three of them do not require Mythic Plus, but they all improve a lot at Mythic Plus, especially Smokey. The next tier we have great add-ons for some bosses. There are 5 heroes under this tier. So for these 5 heroes, having them in your team will definitely help with 1 or 2 boss fights, but you can definitely leave without them. Especially for Scarletta and Shakir, it's very expensive to ascend them, so I would only suggest Wells to do that. And next tier we have solid damage dealers, and in this tier we have Cecilia, Vanga, and Rain. So they are all solid damage dealers, but they are not as good as merely OD or Colin, especially in late game. However, in early game, when your merely or Colin hasn't reached Mythic Plus yet, usually using Cecilia or Vanga that is at a higher ascension level might be the better choice. So lastly, we have the tier great early game support. You won't use either of them in late game when survivability is not an issue anymore. But in early game, survivability is a great issue, and having Coco or Lucius can often help your damage dealers to survive for another 10-20 seconds, which is super valuable. So make sure to have a good use of them in early game. Next, we have the tier list for AFK stages / story / abyss. So all 3 of them have a very close battle mechanic, so the tier list for all 3 of them are very similar. For new players who are not familiar with abyss, this is like some fights that you unlock after you pass all AFK stages. So as you can see here, a lot of heroes are on this tier list, and I classified them as frontliners, damage dealers, and supports. Apparently, for every team, you should have at least 1 frontliner, 1 damage dealer, and 1 support. So make sure that you ascend them properly. There are a few things I want to address here. Firstly is about Carolina and Iron. So I put them as solid damage dealers, but that is when they are in the team separately. But if you have both of them and you ascend both of them to Mythic Plus and or above, they will be unstoppable. They will destroy the enemy team in seconds. So if you're a high spenders, make sure to max them out as soon as possible. Another thing I want to mention is that you might not notice that both Mirly and Colin are not on this tier because they really suck at AFK stage fights. Usually, like many people will ascend Mirly or Colin to a high level because of their edge on Dream Realm. So they might think, okay, since they are ahead of most of my heroes in their ascension, shall I use them in the AFK stages fights? Please don't. They really suck. Calling is mediocre, but merely is really bad. Just do not use them. Pick someone from the best or even solid tiers will be much better. And next, we have the tier list for Arena Hero. So I want to put this in advance that Arena might change drastically as meta changes. So like this tier list might not apply in 1 or 2 months. But if that ever happens, I will definitely put out another video to address it. So let's take a look at this tier list that's definitely valid right now. So the first tier, we have the core characters in the best teams. So we have Aaron, Carolina, Thorin, and Scarlett. So Aaron and Carolina, they synergize really well. Like if you have both of them at Mythic Plus or above, put them in your arena team and they will destroy your enemy. Thorin is the best tank in arena. He tanks a lot of damage, he protects backliners, and he can deal a lot of damage. And Scarlett is the best solo carrier in the game, but you definitely need to max him out. He needs to be Supreme Plus, a plus 15 exclusive equipment for him to shine. So this is probably a well-only character. And next, we have key characters in the best teams. We have Eden, we have Huan, and Damien. So Eden is an underrated hero for many new players, but with good synergy, he can be one of the best damage dealers in arena fights. On the other hand, Huan and Damien are the two best healers and supports, but for all three of them, they need to be Mythic Plus or higher to shine. And then we have the generally great arena heroes. They are all usable, but most of the heroes on this tier has to be Mythic Plus or above to be usable. I would say probably except Rainier, who's whose utility is pretty useful in early game fights. But in late game, you definitely want him to be Mythic Plus or above to be in your arena team. And next here we have great early game heroes. We have Vanga, Cecilia, Lucius, Leica, and Seth. Some people might disagree about Vanga. Like they might say Vanga is a super good, a top tier arena hero, but I don't agree on that. I think the problem with Vanga is she is super easy to counter. So whenever you fight against a Vanga team, just put one of your tanks or Igor at the back of your team, and Vanga needs to chase them all along the fights and do nothing. And like in late games, when your Vanga is against Aaron and Carolina teams, she will easily get one-shotted. Like I saw a ton of fights where Vanga dealt 0 damage because he got one shot at the beginning of the game. So like these great heroes in this tier will help a lot in your early arena fights, but they will gradually be replaced by the heroes in the higher tiers. The next tier we have struggles a bit, but has huge potential, and I make this tier specifically for Downell. He is a Celestial. He has great skill kit, but he currently does not have enough good teammates that have good synergy with him. But in the future, if some good arena heroes with good synergy with Downell was released, he can easily become the best damage dealer in arena. Now let's take a look at the overall Ascension priorities. So On the top tier, we have top priority for everyone, and here we have OD, Thorin, Rainier, Merely, and Smokey. So for OD, Thorin, and Rainier, you might notice that they are on the top tiers for almost every gameplays. They are just generally very good, and you definitely want to max them out. For Merely and Smokey, they are just the absolute god at the places they are good at. For example, Merely is super good at Dream Realms, and Smokey is the absolute best support in AFK stages fights, and also some Dream Realm fights. And then we have top priorities for free-to-play players, and we have Cecilia on this tier. So Cecilia is a very important hero for free-to-play players because she is good at every gameplay. Like, if you only want one maxed out damage dealers, it has to be Cecilia. So, but the problem with Cecilia is that she improves little after Mythic Plus, and she is not the absolute best in any area. So for spenders, you actually want to stop ascending Cecilia at Mythic Plus. And for Wells, you could ignore Cecilia from the very beginning. Then we have top priorities for spenders. First is coin. You want to ascend coin to a high level to really establish your gap from the free-to-play players. And you want Iron and Carolina combo for your arena teams. And then we have top priorities for whales. So if you're a whale player, you really want those heroes who are the absolute best at something. For example, Scarletta and Shakir, they are the absolute best for one specific Dream Realm boss, and Scarletta is also very good at arena fights. Vala and Kansandi right here, they are both very good at battle drills. They are the best in battle drills. And for Vala, she is also the best in world boss fights. So if you're a well player, max them out. In the next tier, we have high priority for everyone. And here we have Hewin, Rowan, and Kruger. They are the three very good supports that is usable in many different scenarios. So maxing them out will increase the gaming experience for everyone. And next we have high priorities for different kinds of players, and they are pretty self-explanatory, so I'll skip them for now. And let's get to the last one, which I want to talk about, is Brutus. Everyone wants exactly one copy of him for his invisibility. He does not do much damage. He does not tank a lot of damage, but he can be invisible for at least 5 seconds. That is his value, and probably the only value. He will help you to overcome a lot of huge power gaps, so you definitely want one copy, but ascending him will bring little improvement unless you max him out. So everyone will need exactly one copy of him. That is very, very valuable. Finally, let's take a quick look at the exclusive equipment upgrade priorities. So as we talked about earlier, feel free to upgrade the exclusive equipment of any hero to level 5. And I do not suggest for free-to-play players and low spenders, I do not suggest upgrading any exclusive equipment over +10. So basically there are only 3 stages, +5, +8, and +10. Be careful about every +10 you choose, because you will only have a limited amount of heroes that you will be able to ascend, to upgrade to level 10. So please definitely prioritize these 4 heroes. From the bottom of my heart, I believe that these tier lists will give you the best guidance on optimizing the game. In the future, I will continue to make videos on the wishlist setup, tips for AFK stages, spending guides, and how to get higher ranks in the Dream Realm. So make sure to stay tuned. This is the end of the video. Peace.